gentlemen, we are coming to you live on Sky Sports from the Alexandra Palace, London! The third round action of the Paddy Power World Dance Championship. It's all brought to you by the Professional Dance Corporation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the thousands joining us live and the millions joining us around the world, it's time to meet the players. He's Croatia's World Cup star. He's Croatia's #1. It's Boris Krcmar! Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of 15 televised titles, a two-time Premier League champion, and a two-time back-to-back champion of the world, the Flying Scotsman, Gary Anderson!
Right then, our first match of the night here on day 12 and our last match from the third round. It is Gary Anderson, the world number 21 these days, two-time world champion of course, one of the form players in 2023. He has picked up 3 ranking titles and shown he is very much still here to mix it. One of the kind of outside favourites, is that a thing? You know what I mean? Beat Simon Whitlock 3-0 in the second round with an average of around 98. He has got a brilliant record here as well. This a 15th appearance at the PDC World Championship on 12 of the last 14. Well, he's made it past this stage. As for that man there, Boris Krcmar, this the furthest he's ever made it. Beat Keegan Brown 3-1 in the first round before another win by the same scoreline against Dirk van Dijvenbode. He's averaging around 94 for the tournament. He's been solid, but you feel he might need to go up a gear here tonight. Just the 2 previous meetings between these two, both came this year, both on the floor, and both won by the two-time world champ. So who wins here then? Well, for the first time tonight, let's head to comms and join John Park, and good evening to Glenn Durrant.
Yeah, thank you very much, Emma. 17 players remain. Who will be that final play into the scintillating last 16 that we've got set up? And as Emma alluded to, already they've played each other twice this year, and it's Gary Anderson who won both of them games, and both of them, John Park. He averaged over 100. That tells me he likes playing Boris.
Well, yes, he does. I think he likes playing everybody this year, though. I think he averaged over 100 several dozen times. But he is one to watch, and I think that with the draw opening up, that Brendan Dolan awaits the winner of this. As we know, he was thoroughly brilliant in an upset of Gerwyn Price, and he's fancying his chances. But I think also the winner of this match, whoever it might be, will be also seeing the draw as wide open now, and a great opportunity.
Yeah, just an indication about Gary Anderson, how well he's played this year. 127 games he's played in 2023, and 54 averages over 100, John. That's how well he's playing.
Yeah, so he likes playing against a lot of people, or he dislikes a lot of people, depending how you look at it. or he has respect. Let's put it that way. He respects the game, and he respects the game of the big man. He said so in his interview, and I believe him. He knows that Boris can play darts.
Well, I would believe anything that Boris said to me. He is massive.
Yeah, he'll rip your arms off if he doesn't like you.
But joking aside, give Boris Krcmar a dart or a double, John, and he usually hits it. That's a real strength of his game. I think the power scoring should come from this man. And that's, we talk about longevity in sport, and just look at that throw. I first watched him a long time ago, and that throw has remained the same. But it's Boris first down to a finish.
Yeah, won't get the crack at double, though. Anderson, well, come on. A great way to start a match, but might be asking a bit too much at this point. And it is. But I've known Boris quite a long time. Back to soft hit tournaments, actually, and he's always been formidable.
Yeah, something we might try and mention. I said how good he is at doubles. See if he makes me look good. Thank you, Boris.
Well, thankfully, he's better at doubles than big singles. But the one advantage to hitting the one the first dart was it wasn't blocking the tops.
Yeah, and sometimes that's the fear when you go up for the 20s there. The last thing you want to do, your mind's thinking, I don't want it to sit up. I want to give yourself an opportunity. And sometimes when we get on that stage, we overthink even the most simplest things.
Hello, Gary Anderson. Welcome to the match. He has a way of being able to just put things right at times.
Yeah, it's incredible when he talks about the nerves, but it's something that's always been part of his preparation. But I'm fairly confident that within half an hour of him going onto the stage, he'll be settled in. That's the importance of having your family and friends around you and good people talking in you before you get up there.
Well, Gary, as you said, he's always had that lovely throw, but it did take him a little while to master the use of it and to really dominate the entire fields.
Yes, I went for a swim in the lakeside. The lake itself, where he would often throw his darts after he lost at the lakeside, but he's now rightly classed as a real legend of the game.
Yeah, well, if throwing your darts in doesn't solve the problem, I guess you throw yourself in.
Well, I threw my darts in the lake and I missed.
On occasion, it'd be iced over. This skid right across the other side.
It's Shanghai again for Boris. So he needs that treble 20. It's a good camera angle just to see that he had that eyesight to see that treble. And this would settle Anderson down.
It's kind of needed to settle down because he leaves. Well, he wouldn't want to leave Boris the same out he took in the first leg, and he does get it done. A really good dart when you're not really truly settled yet. And, well, the result was maybe it was a bit of luck there. It had a lot of contact. I don't think he wanted all that. You start every leg with a 180 as well, Glenn. That's a good policy.
Yes, I think we're searching for that 9-darter, aren't we? It's been a fantastic tournament so far, and I guess the best is probably still to come.
There's no doubt of that. I mean, it's amazing how this tournament always just gets better and better as it progresses.
Just a mouth-watering last 16, isn't it? And 2 of the games tonight. I mean, just sensational stuff. And just to try and pick winners, people just in form, playing their best darts, smashing that treble 20 bed. It could just come down to just who is the best, who keeps their composure at the end, and who keeps their mind.
Yeah, you have to keep that focus, keep that form if you are doing it right. And some of the field, they haven't been quite getting it right, and they got to figure that out and bring their best game forward in the next round.
Yeah, it's at that stage now where you'd accept the last 16, the last 8, anything after that is a real bonus. But Boris has started this match very, very nicely. He's back in that treble 20 bed. Beautiful setup play for a breaker throw again.
Yeah, huge visit. Puts the pressure squarely onto Anderson. Needs treble 18. And the ball. Well, that was a 50-50 proposition.
As Gary himself said, don't give Boris chances at a double. because that is what he does. He's 2 from 2 on the outer ring in this first set, and doesn't he look settled?
Well, he's couldn't have really asked for much better of a start than to be having to throw for the set at this stage, up 2-1. Because if he wins the set, he comes back after the break with the advantage of throwing set 2.
Yeah, just on the lapel there, Gary, 2 stars to represent his 2 PDC World Championships. If you see on the non-throwing arm of Boris, there's about 200 stars, and that highlights his success on the soft tip board.
Yes, a world champ, and I think a few different variations of it as well, because it's not a unified business on that side of it either.
Tell me about it. I've been chatting with Tony Martin today to try and explain it to me, but I was still none the wiser, and I wasn't going to say anything to Boris about all them stars. I'll leave that to you, John.
The bottom line is Boris is through and through. He's a winner and used to winning in darts events. Okay, now this is a vastly different and the biggest darts event he's ever played, but he is used to winning, and that's a big help.
And he's also used to playing on a stage. He's used to playing in finals. He's used to high-pressured situations. And like I say, my assessment right now is he looks very composed, very comfortable, very at ease, just having a look at the surroundings.
Third consecutive leg with a maximum, and well-timed to pressure Boris. He'll have 1 dart at double 16.
For the set.
35. Gary required 46.
It's been break after break so far. Can Gary replicate? He's gone back to his beloved tops. Big dart.
And that's just incredibly done. I mean, that first dart was no help at all, and somehow finds that one in. And Boris nods respect because he realizes that was not easy either. But unfortunately for Boris, Gary will just get stronger and stronger off of the back of shots like that, and especially the 180 setup.
It's been a set where it's all been breaker throws so far. What a crowd we have in here tonight. I mean, imagine being in Gary Anderson's shoes. He's already admitted he's nervous, and he's got these adoring fans behind him.
But I think it's the sort of thing, if he can settle and get his game right, he knows he can reel off sets.
Yeah, I agree.
So he won't be panicked if he loses this set. On the other hand, this is more must-winish for Boris.
Yeah, you say that, but I just think I'll go back to what you said first of all. This first set could really settle Gary Anderson down, and I think this man is already settled. He looks comfortable. I'm really enjoying his performance so far. But despite the 180 from Anderson, it's Krcmar for me who's given me the most positives.
Yeah, but that's what I'm getting at, though. If he's settled and Gary isn't, and he doesn't come away with the set, that doesn't bode well for him. He needs to take this set, in my mind.
It's the Canadian I didn't understand. It's the accent. Don't even go there with Geordie.
Gary Reborn 170.
2 of the best finishers in the world of darts. The biggest of them all. Well, I built you up, Gary.
Well, we can try and do that, Glenn, but they have to decide whether they want to or not, or whether they're going to at least. Well, treble 17. Yes, and a bowl to win set 1. What a perfect dart! That was Boris Krcmar! You just hit 161 to take set 1 against Gary Anderson. Wow, what a shot! And Gary can only walk off and think, well, I better just tighten up my game a bit.
Boris has just nailed a 1-6-1 out to win the first set of our opening tie of the night. Krcmar leads 1-0. Let's get back to the action and rejoin John and Glenn.
Thank you, Emma. Yeah, what an electrifying finish, and that bullseye jump part, it didn't even touch the sides.
No, yeah, that was a swish in basketball terms. There was not even a thought of missing. What an excellent dart under some pressure, because as I was saying at the time, I really felt like he needed to win that set because he was the better player. And now he's got the advantage of throw. And I don't believe Gary will be particularly panicked. He knows what he can do. But still, for Boris to be able to contest him truly in the match, that's what was needed.
95.
Well, some people maybe felt that this was the hors d'oeuvre with the main course to come, but I tell you what, yeah, serving up some delicious stuff so far. I mean, Boris Krcmar, probably out of the 6 players tonight, was the one who was getting the least headlines. Gary Anderson and that adoring crowd behind him, but Boris is looking first class tonight.
Well, and it looks as though he's really truly believing he can actually get very deep in this tournament. And that's all that winning experience again.
That section of the draw is just creating so much interest, and
that's costly.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing. You wish you'd gone bigger on the 12.
49.
Krcmar's thinking, am I going to get 1 dart at the double on 74? Or is it 2? It's just going to be the 1 if he can stay straight. He does. It's tops. Everything he touches turns to gold at the moment. Food for thought for Gary Anderson.
Well, they've each had 5 efforts for double, and Krcmar's hit 4 of them. And there we see Gary only 2. And they're both good hits when he had them, but certainly it's Krcmar with the monumental of set-winning finish on the bull. It really is what this match has been all about so far.
I didn't think Boris would have the scoring power to stay with Gary, but I never doubted the fact that give him a dart at that double. And he's got that beautiful combination of the big finishing and the excellent scoring to boot. It's looking good for him.
I don't have the stats in front of me to confirm it, but I always thought Boris was a really good 140 hitter, at the very least. Consistent, heavy scoring. I think the biggest problem with his game are those odd turns like that, where it diffuses the averages quite a bit, and sometimes your chances to win matches.
Well, he didn't have an easy route to play Gary Anderson. I mean, Keegan Brown and albeit more of an injured Dirk van Duijvenbode, but taking nothing away from the fact he beat the seeded player. And I just think he's come into this game thinking, right, you know what, I feel settled, I've been on that stage twice, and the world is going to see the best of my steel tip game.
Treble 18. Well, 20 and tops, and that's nice and clear. Well, he's kind of signaled there he forgot to throw it.
Same process for Gary, but this time it's 2 darts at the double. Double 8 doesn't like to be this side of the board normally. Just moves across the hockey slightly. Decides to stay there. What a dart. You will see Gary Anderson going more for the tops. And when he's on that double 16 and double 8, it doesn't hold as much confidence, but that was a cracking dart.
Yeah, although his percentage hasn't been great for Gary on the doubles. It's 43% now, but a lot of his misses have been just before he hits it anyway in the same visit.
Yeah, a lot's been said about his floor game this year in the Pro Tour, second in the rankings. But I also think he's been a little bit unlucky on telly. He walked into Rob Cross averaging 112 in the Masters. He walked into a fantastic Daryl Gurney at the match play, averaging just shy of 105. That incredible game at the Grand Slam with Luke Humphreys as well. Maybe just needs a little bit of luck on that stage, because the game is there for Gary Anderson.
Well, this is something we were saying about Gerwyn Price, but the luck was not to be found. Not this time around. And of course, that's someone who's a potential opponent. Brendan Dolan took care of. So, you know, everybody's happy when the big fish drop out of the pond.
Yeah, I was having a meal with Chris Dobie, Joe Cullen, and we were reeling the legs off, sort of a little bit in shock last night when the very likeable Brendan, as Gary Anderson looks at treble 19 for the ball.
Oh, he didn't miss by much. It was a steady effort, wasn't it?
Needs the treble. Chance for Anderson.
25.
Potential breaker throw. Back to double 8. Sweet as a nut.
Yeah, superb stuff. And Gary's found a way through to now have the throw to try and wrap this setup.
You can see why Gary's averaged over 100. You just enjoy the pace of this game. He looks deceptively quick, does Boris, because he's a big guy. I just think they're both feeding off each other right now.
Yeah, I think they both like the pace, and certainly won't be any gamesmanship in this match.
Just a delight when he's in full flow, isn't he, John?
Well, yeah, we see the set 2 average, and it looks pretty full flow for Gary. 105 right now, after 3.5 legs, say.
It just seems to be the norm sat in this seat. Some of the darts being produced by these elite players right now. That's his 4th.
Well, he's on an easy 11 chance now. I say easy, that's when it's single to double.
This is for the set.
25. Arther E 161. And Gary Ribon 16.
It's been he before.
Well, that is a bit surprising. We fully expected him to get that after his previous successes there.
This may hurt.
32.
Yeah, he's disappointed with that himself. And so now it's double 4, though, new target.
And the target is it. This time it's double 2, but Gary Anderson does take that second set. He was absolutely fantastic and answered the Boris onslaught from the first set. This game is very, very much in the balance. The crowd are loving it. Hope you're loving it too. We're even at 1 set each.
Welcome back to Alexandra Palace in the World Championship of Darts, where Gary Anderson just hit double 2 to claim his first set of the match. He missed a few darts on the way, and he's saying, oh yeah, double 8, where were you? You made me give a chance away to Boris, who did miss 1 dart at tops there and might have forced a 5th leg. But Boris, oh, he's been so steady. 94.18 average there. And look at that, 4 of 7 on doubles, Glenn. You see anything else?
Yeah, the 161 was the highlight for Boris. He's come out the traps very, very nicely. I just think both players are feeling okay now. There was a couple of early nerves there for Gary Anderson, or maybe we should just give a little bit more credit for the cool, calm and collected Boris Krcmar, who looked really good in that first set. But Gary Anderson just stepped on the gas a little bit in that second set, and just a couple of missed darts at double 8 and double 4 stopped an average of being well over 100. But you can see he's deep in thought there. And a big set coming up, and I just think we'll expect to see the best from Gary here.
Could it be another 180 start? No, but you know, that's what he wants to get going. And well, look at the 3 points there in the board. I mean, they could have easily been a 180, just over a touch. He's got such great grouping, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's a lot of these elite players now, they just put it on a pinhead, don't they? When you see a dart like that, you'd expect the 180. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we should demand it next time he's right in the middle like that.
I'm not demanding, Boris. I'll leave that one. Demand it.
I want it. Oh, okay, that didn't work. But it certainly did work at keeping him in the leg. Krcmar has been so steady, almost identical averages in set 1 and 2, and that's the constant pressure that will eat at any opponent.
Yeah, I think he'd be really pleased with the situation, but I think he'll also realise that Gary Anderson just seems to be flexing his muscles right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, ultimately he's probably outgunned, and he can't afford to miss the opportunities where in that fourth leg Gary missed 3 darts and he didn't hit his 1 dart. I know it's a little unfair, but he needs to hit that.
Yeah, you just feel he has to be immaculate at the conclusion of each leg. And that set-up play means that Gary Anderson is a comfortable position for this first leg. For a holder throw. He tells me he's not a fan of that double 10, but he doesn't often miss it, you know, John.
Well, I just think it leads down that path to the double 5, which not many people will admit to liking.
Excellent riposte from Boris Krcmar.
Yeah, I asked for a 180 to start a leg, and we got it. It's a Croatian.
And this is a sound foundation for him going into 2024. He's very ambitious. I watched him, he was quite emotional in his interview after a Dirk van Duijvenbode. And he said, you know, he's proven he's been the best in the world on the soft tip, and he wants to do exactly that on the steel tip. And I just think this competition is the best player to lay those foundations down for a really important year coming up for him in 2024.
Yeah, well, Dirk, we know he's dealing with an injury now. He did play to a level that really did test Boris.
That first set was a surprise to everybody, but it's 86 for Krcmar. Little look at the score there for Gary Anderson. Double 11. Just give him a double. 5 from 8 on the outer ring now. It's quite simple what the scenario is here, John. Gary simply has to get to the double first.
Yeah, and we know he's capable, and he's shown it within the match. So that's the happy result for Gary, as he knows he'll get his chances. Or will he? I mean, last leg, Boris outscored him. He looks to do so again.
8 in this match already. Make that 9.
Well, with the lineup we have tonight, Glenn, we were expecting this sort of thing to happen tonight, but maybe not here. We certainly know Gary's capable, but Boris is pitching in too.
Like I said, the worrying thing, the scary thing is the best maybe to come.
It's a joy. It's scary, but it's a joy.
But I'm so impressed with this man right now. It's an onslaught to the more from Gary Anderson, but Boris is fighting. Gary has to hit this for 11. Back to tops. 11 darter. People may say, will Gary be Anderson? Will he be nervous right now, John? And I just think during the mid-match, I always give the parallel a bit like a boxer where they've been punched on the nose a couple of times now. I think the nerves are gone on there. Now they're just beginning to find their free-flowing game.
Well, I think he just gets absorbed into the match itself and what needs to be done. And the outside thoughts leave him, very fortunately for him. Normally he can involve himself so entirely in the match that he gets that standard right up there and keeps it there.
Yeah, that's the importance of that hand alignment of the dart there. You get into that rhythm. So Gary will see exactly where he wants that flight in his eye. And like I said, just let the arm do the work from there. The rhythm.
45.
Well, this is some sort of set so far after 3 legs. They're both averaging just about 110 or 115, whenever you like.
Yeah, Boris 2-1 down. In some phenomenal numbers right now. But that's a little slip. 265 to see Gary start downstairs.
Oh, and it's always good to see that, because then you start thinking about maybe the 171.
170,
This is for parity. And we know what happens when he needs a double.
Wow, that wasn't too far off that double 8. And Gary gets something special. Oh, he can. Perfect. He'll be disappointed on that one.
Yeah, I was about to say it's all about the first dart, and that was perfect. To go all the way in this set, Boris Krcmar is playing his part in a beautiful game.
Well, we had a lot of breaks to throw early going, but I think we've 5 legs in a row now with the throw. And that's partially due to the better standard. They're really producing well now. Yeah,
I think it's that combination of, and they've been settled as well. They're really finding the aim. It's a nice feeling when you're up there and you're peppering that treble 20. It really is. It's not so nice when your opponent's doing it back to you. And that's exactly what Boris is doing, to be fair.
I mean, we talk about enjoying matches when they're played well and you're in the midst of them. Now, Gary, we know about, but I think Boris is enjoying the challenge here. I mean, a lot of people just be afraid of it, full stop, but I think he's savoring it.
Yeah, people talk about the want to be at a certain stage. Part of me thinking that's where I come for, I want to be in the last 32. And I think we're seeing the very, very best of him, but it's Gary on 90. What a set, what a player. Boris Krcmar once again played his part there, but Gary Anderson put the afterburners on with a set average of 112.48. Gary Anderson is motoring right now.
Yeah, and he needed that 112. Boris's set average was 107. And they're both on 98.03, as I say it, for match average. This is a good match.
Well, you put this mic in your hand, but sometimes you just want to just sit back and enjoy like everybody else is at home now watching this.
And it's very difficult in these chairs, Glenn, as you know, but the pace they got going here, you blink and you're going to miss something really good.
Yeah, fell off twice. Michael van Gerwen versus Stephen Bunting up next. What an incredible night of darts.
Well, in that last set, 3 legs were 12 darts or better. 2 12s and an 11. And is it, will they keep this pace up, do you think? It's got to be hard.
Yeah, for Anderson, I'm confident. Like you said, Boris seems to be on a real high. From his first start, he didn't look nervous. The walk-on was, I thought, you know, he looks comfortable. Some people have been very pale and starry-eyed and maybe need a set to get through. Much to the credit of Boris, but I think it's bringing the best out of Gary Anderson. And he demonstrated in the Grand Slam of darts that even over a long period now, he can sustain that.
Well, winning that first set has given Boris this chance. That doesn't really matter. More a setup visit. He might have wanted to miss outside there. Experience would tell you that. But yeah, they're winning the first set now. He's got the throw here in this set to level it. Double 9. Oh, and that's like the worst thing you can do on a dartboard. Bust on the adjacent double, your first dart. It's such a painful feeling.
Yeah, you feel sick to the stomach, and the crowd are getting behind Gary. He'll go treble 14 for his beloved tops. What a steal that is. Listen to that crowd. Look at the trajectory of that dart there. It just takes a flight at the top and just lands like an aeroplane landed on a runway. Beautiful dart.
And that is some exquisite punishment delivered by the 2-time champion on that. Well, it equates to a 3-dart miss because it was a handful he had, and although it ended on the first dart, the job should have been done.
Yeah, that could be a tough one to take for Boris. The greats can forget about missed darts at a double. Just as a double whammy, I just think it's given more momentum to Gary Anderson.
Well, yes, he has the throw in this leg, and he has advantage in the set now. And he's thinking about walking off at the next break, up 3-1 in sets. That's the Anderson script.
I mean, I'm looking ahead there for a potential Barney versus Gary Anderson quarters. We could get John Part and Phil Taylor up here next.
Whoa. Hey, I didn't volunteer.
Well, treble 20 will need repairing after this because it is absolutely being smashed all over the place. Gary Anderson, who's checked out on 70, treble 18, changes his mind this time. 4 tops.
Well, this would be a fair measure of redemption for him. Make the most of it, Boris. Well, 73 now. Most likely treble 19, could be treble 11. We'll see what he goes.
Yeah, you've got to stay straight on that first dart. That's not a bad response.
72.
Oh. He's feeling taunted about now.
Not only are they going in the doubles, they're going plumb bang in the middle for the pair of them right now. Look at the height he gives that dart. Look at the reaction there from Boris. He knows he's been in this game for a large majority. Is it just beginning to get away from him now? Just the minor mistakes from Boris Krcmar are heavily being punished by Gary Anderson right now.
Well, and this is why at the outset we gave Gary so much respect. We know he's going to be good at the punishing element and opportunities he'll take. Yes, you have some mistakes too, but as long as you're being a great enforcer and your opponent doesn't, which has been the case, Boris has let Gary off a few mistakes. So we're about where we should be the way the match has been played, although on the numbers they're very, very close.
Yeah, it's one of those games, isn't it? I think Gary will benefit, Boris will benefit. They know the game's in a good place right now. The challenges will change. Whoever is successful here about when they play Brendan. What won't change though, with the amount of 180s Gary Anderson will hit. Another 7 in this match already. 12 for the tournament.
Yes, and the Ali Pally audience are warming up the tonsils for the 180 cheers. This is going to be a lot more tonight.
Right on cue, John.
You got to love it to leave double 7. Well, you have to love that composure for Boris to save the set, get that first leg under the belt in set 4, and a bull finish is always a joy. That's his second. He had that 161.
Oh, the 161. I mean, I don't think you could have placed it any more central in the bull. I mean, the people watching who are not understanding when we're talking about soft tip, the majority of the darts that they throw will be at the centre of the board. Hence the reason, my opinion. I mean, may throw a different weight of dart, etc., but he's used to replicating that throw at the centre of the board.
I can't argue with that. I wouldn't want to. Makes sense.
85.
Remember, there will be a break after this set.
95.
You want to go backstage when you're leading 3-1. Your plan, your strategy that you have is so much more simpler when you're 3-1 up. Gary Anderson do that in style. It's double 12.
117.
And Boris doesn't really have much hope now of prolonging the set. He's going to have to rely on a Gary error, and he needs a treble. Didn't get it.
24.
They did leave the 161 again. Oh, double 12 says no to that opportunity. Gary Anderson, he's up 3 sets to 1, and he's reeled off 3 consecutive, in fact. He did lose the first set, but he has no thoughts of losing in mind.
Gary Anderson is a set away from the last 16. He has just wrapped up set 4 with a nice little 13 darter. The 2-time world champion leads Boris Krcmar 3-1. Let's see how the rest unfolds then and rejoin John and Glenn.
Yeah, thank you, Emma. And doesn't Gary look pleased as he walked off on the stage? And interestingly enough, Boris decided to stay on the stage. He didn't take the opportunity for the break, whereas Gary Anderson, as you see him go off there. But after losing that first set, John, he then averaged 97, Gary Anderson, in set 2, 112 in set 3, and 101 in set 4. Championship form?
I think it's a level he expects from himself, to be fair. Certainly he's in the equation of winning matches performing at that level, but as we've seen elsewhere, that's no guarantee, I don't think. But to be also be kind to Boris, well, not kind, he's earned it. He's had a great standard here, 7 of 14 at doubles and a 96 average himself, and he's pushed Gary somewhat here.
Yeah, it's been an absorbing contest, one where many experts might have felt that Gary would have run away with things, but Boris has played his part. I mean, it's going to be a very tough ask now. His strategy was to stay on that stage for this 5th set. He always took the opportunity to take the break, even if it's just to get just outside and just maybe get a bit of cool air. It's surprisingly boiling on that stage, considering it's in the winter, and yeah, people take the opportunity just to sort of cool down and get the thoughts together.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, it's very short matter of steps to be outside and to cool. So you can go from very hot to right cool down, maybe even rained on sometimes.
Gary Anderson on the hockey is red hot at the moment. Once again looking good for a 13 darter, and for once Boris is well back. So no real dramas here for Gary Anderson, the kind of leg that you want on return. But the double 10 he hits.
Yeah, he chastised himself after that. So Gary hit that double 5, and he did. Oh, I love things like that, and watching other players, because you know you do it yourself when you were playing, and it's funny how it works. A lot of the time it works.
Well, who will rule the 2024 PDC World Championships? I mean, there's so many questions with limited answers right now, but I just sense that Gary's really put himself in the mix. They probably don't give you the answer that you want to hear when Gerwyn Price went out last night. He was certainly my tip for the title this year. It was a surprise against, like I said, an extremely likeable Brendan Dolan. You want good things to happen to Brendan because he's that type of guy. But when he was out the draw, I just think other players suddenly go, and this section of the draw is exactly that.
It happens every year, Glenn, with different top players. So we had some very interesting second round top guys go missing, and Danny Noppert, Peter Wright, James Wade,
Nathan Aspinall. That
yes, well, he made the top 33. He just didn't make the top 32, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'll let you tell Boris he came 17th if he does lose this match.
Yeah.
Sounds better, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, that's all that's left with a chance to win it.
However, we'll talk as if he's out. He's far from that. Especially if this 146, he'll stay there. That would have left double 16. I'm assuming the Icelandic football team's walked in.
So one dart for the break of throw. And that would have put him a leg away.
Yeah, and that reaction tells me he thought that was in when it let go of his hand, and a chance.
Well, we've seen this before. He misses one dart, but double 16. And at the very beginning of the match, he had something similar on the tops, but he got the tops.
The tide is turning, that's for sure. Gary Anderson is one leg away for a matchup with Brendan Dolan in the last 16. It's been professional, it's been clinical, but both have played their part in a fascinating contest.
Yeah, it's in a way it's been kind of, sets wise, it's almost been all Anderson. Well, aside from the very first. Since then it's been all Anderson sets wise, but it really hasn't been all Anderson in terms of quality of play.
And my theory, which is only an opinion, is them little bit of butterflies in the first set was the reason behind. I just feel like when that first set was over, he was able to compose himself and In a couple of sets there, averaging over 100, and he'll know himself. He's in good shape right now. And is this the beginning of the end?
And something else about Gary, I think he'll be more than pleased to be playing again tomorrow night. Just to get right back at it, to keep the feeling now after that big long break before now.
And like I said, it's a different challenge. Brendan Dolan won't fear Gary after what he did to Gerwyn Price last night. Very sensible play. 75 left, so he should be looking at treble 17. It's double 12 the victory.
Was his previous best out in the match 102, so that would have been some kind of finish. And nothing for Boris.
81. There you go on 24.
And the flying Scotsman accelerates to the last 16. It was a brilliant performance from Gary in the end, despite losing that opening set. But fair play to Boris Krcmar, who come out the traps very, very nicely in that game. And Gary Anderson looks a very relieved, very happy man. It was professional, it was clean, it was clinical. And Gary Anderson, John Park, will play Brendan Dolan tomorrow night.
Yes, he will. And once again, he averaged over 100 in set 5, 102.48. And that was 3 consecutive sets of over 100 average. And it resulted in a 99 overall average for Gary. So I'd say a very decent night at the office for him.
Yeah, you can just see 99.29 average. A lot of the damage was done in the middle of that match there. Like I say, a 4-1 victory, and the 180s were going. The finishing was clinical in the end. It was just a very enjoyable game, and I think Gary Anderson will be absolutely delighted with that performance, and certainly his family were. They're all look at the celebrations there. They enjoyed it. Gary enjoyed it, and Gary is with Polly now.
Yeah, Gary, you were pushed there at the beginning. It was a nervy start for you, but pretty comfortable getting over the line in the end.
Yeah, when Boris won the first set, I bet this was going to be a struggle, you know, but no, we got back to 1-1. You know, the next 2 sets, I think the third set was tight, fourth set comfortable, and then the last set, you could tell the way he was thrown. You know, we kind of had him.
Look, you're a class act when you're in full flow, Gary. 112 average in the third set. That's the type of level that you're expecting from yourself now, surely.
It used to be when I was a lot younger. We're actually sweating buckets, you know, but tonight when I walked out, I've never had that before, you know. That was a bit of a shock, but yeah, look at this lot.
What a crowd. How much support and how much did they help you get over the line tonight?
Always, I would hate to see state them at New Year, you know, but no, they come from all over the planet to watch this game, and we've got to thank them, you know. If it wasn't for the supporters, it'd be a boring game.
You've been consistent all year, Gary. What are the motivations and what drives you now to win?
Sky saying I'm finished. Unlucky for yous, I'm not done yet, but I keep trying. But yeah, like I say, we keep going. The daughter wants a horse, so I better keep playing.
Yeah, you want to prove the haters, right? Okay, listen, Gary, you have got Dolan up next, and he's going to be another tricky customer for you. He got rid of Gezi. How much are you looking forward to that matchup tomorrow?
I was looking forward against Gezi. You know, usually last 4 or 5 games we've played really well against each other. Brendan, dark horse. Brendan is a class act, you know. People write him off. Never write Brendan Dolan off, you know. Lovely guy and a bloody good dart player.
It's going to be a great tie. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Cheers, thank you.
We'll take the blame for your brilliant form, Gary. Don't worry about it. Gary Anderson then into the last 16 for the 13th time in 15 appearances.